Okay, we are live. We are live. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Emunah doing another test and a thank you and a reveal all together in one. Again, shout out to all my new and day one subscribers. Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Many of you may be here for different reasons. If you're here for the interview that we did yesterday, it was an awesome interview. It was a great interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very telling. It had beautiful components to it. And one of the components I didn't like was the fact that the audio was messed up, right? And there many things happened yesterday that was trying not to have that interview come out. And one of them was the subscriber was like, "Yo, Muna, we can't hear you. It's muddled." So I kept asking my panelists, "Could you hear me?" And they were like, "We could hear you." So I continued. And so that's my bad. I lost like 2 winks of sleep last night. Like, man, I should have really tried to fix that audio because listening back is painful. I have heard you and I agree. My voice, for some reason, was muddled, and it was the new webcam that I'm using. I'm broadcasting from here. You can hear me. As a matter of fact, let me know in the box below if you can hear me. And for some reason, I wanted to use the desktop, and it didn't want to be used. I should have just went on live with my phone. Needless to say, I heard you. Thank you so much. And apparently, one of my longtime subscribers. Let me not even say that. So today, I'm sitting here, and the FedEx comes. No, and then I get a notice like, "You missed a package." I was like, "I didn't even order no package. They must have the wrong person in the complex." So the FedEx comes back around again and they drop it off to me. Yeah, the audio is good now. So it was the webcam. I know exactly what it was. And like I said, you go through something, you're like, man, I should have just fixed it. At that time, so today the FedEx comes, I take the package. I was like, "Yo, I didn't order anything." Right? So then he gives me the package, and now I'm inspecting it because y'all know I'm Inspector Emunah. And I'm like, and I'm reading everything. They got my name, they got the business. I'm like, I didn't order anything. So I'm a little hesitant before I open the package. I was like. So I open the package like this here, and then I'm seeing nothing but like fillings and stuff. And let me put it here because the package is trying to rough me up in the car, right? And I'm looking for all the signs. I'm like, I didn't order spit. What is this? So then I dig a little further, YouTube led, and then I'm like, a headphone. So I'm even more confused. I'm like, and this is some, you know what I mean? This is some jazzy headphones. I'm like, I didn't order headphones. So now I'm like, I'm gonna have to go live to figure out who sent me this so that I can thank them. Because I know a lot of people was like, "I'm gonna get better headphones, get better head quality," and they may be new to the channel, so I understand. But I'm like, I've been communicating for a long time, but this StreamYard thing is new for me. This StreamYard is new. So anyway, I take this out and I'm like, okay, now I'm fully intrigued. So I go back to my box to look for clues to who could have sent this, right? And I'm looking for the company, and I'm like, what? It was sent overnight. Like, this person really was in their feelings about my bad sound quality on that particular interview. Let's be specific, right? And I'm looking and I'm trying to find, it's priority, it's overnight. I'm trying to find some type of clue. So I find a number. I know, Sarai. I'm trying to explain to you. All you gotta do is you can have 100 good quality videos, one crappy sound video, and you get the crappy sound award of the year. It's all good. I feel you. I feel you guys on it. So I'm trying to figure out who sent me the headphones. So I was about to appeal to YouTube, but before I did, I just did one little more check. So I looked on the box, and I was like, aha, there's a number. I'm gonna call this number, and then there's an invoice number. Y'all just please bear with me. I'm that type of person. Like, my mind, like, mysteries intrigue me. So I was like, okay, if I call the number and then give them the invoice number, I should be able to find out who sent this thing. Right? So I call the number. I'm thinking, thank you for reaching such and such. I don't get that on the phone. This just happened today. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting, hello? This ain't really my cell phone. This is my battery pack, but y'all get it. I'm like, And I just have a leave your message at the sound of the beep. I'm like, this, I didn't hear the business name. This is not Amazon. Now I'm thoroughly confused. So I'm like, forget this. When my phone charges, I'm going to YouTube. I'm about to ask y'all. True Diamond say, wow, somebody was really salty about this. No, a lot of people are salty about the SoundCloud. Hey, welcome, Sandy. Welcome. You guys, welcome. Please don't use yesterday to judge me. It was a real snafu on my behalf, trying to make sure the video was good, and the sound quality got messed up with that old webcam. Anywho, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll call back tomorrow. My phone rings back. And then I see the name because I called on the shop phone. So the caller ID showed me the name. And I was like, I know that name. And I know that subscriber. And so I was like, aha, busy time, mystery solved. So I pick up the phone and I talk to the person and I get a laugh out of it. And I'm like, yo, you really sent me headphones? He was like, yo, I struggled through your interview. And I want to say thank you to the subscriber who know who they are, who was so like, Emunah, we are going to get you on track. He gave me encouragement that my quality is improving, and thank you. And that's what happens when you do a little diligent inquiry. You get to find out who the secret gift giver was of the headphones. So y'all can stop hollering now that Emunah needs to get Emunah needs to get new headphones. But you're hearing me fine on the cell phone. So I should have just went with the cell phone avenue, but I didn't. But thank you for the headphones. I'm going to use them when I am on the desktop. If everyone found your channel yesterday, okay, and she has very good content you will enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the new subscribers who are coming. I know you're coming for different reasons, but trust, poke around, you will find some things that will entertain you. And for my old day one subscribers who be like, yo, is Emunah switching it up? What is going on here? I got to shout out to Jason, my brother from long time. Jason is not feeling me right now because of the way in which the content is stitching up. I did do a video to respond to the latest one that I did concerning leftover women in China. I just have to upload it, and YouTube I've been acting crazy these last 2 days. But I have to upload this video that I did fact checking what I was saying. If you ever have any question about what I'm saying, if you're confused, just put it in the comment section below. If there was another video, actually True Diamond was like, Emunah, what was the other video? I gave her the other video. If you need a reference for an article that I say, what I found is that when I was so heavily oriented on the references, it kind of lost a lot of people, but I still am that person. So if you ask, I will definitely give it to you in the box below. And so that's what I'm coming with next, because my intent behind the video, the Korea video, and those that are in that lane, here's the intent, is to just broaden the scope of the conversations that we're having in this space of relationships, in this today's space and time, the conclusions that we're coming to about why the modern woman in the West is single versus, when people says no other people have problems with their women. That's not true. This is not happening in no other country. That's not true. Right. And those are the kind of things that make me be like, okay, how honest are we being? How intellectually honest are we being with these conversations? Or are we trying to manipulate people? I don't like manipulating people. I don't like being manipulated. And I don't like when I see it, right? So China is having a problem, and they have been having a problem with the disparaging numbers of men to women. There's a lack of women based on the policies that the Chinese government had in place since the 80s and before. And what it did was make a surplus of men. And now the government is using certain tactics as well as other people to say, yo, if you over 27, young girl, your career ain't gonna get it. You need to get back into the house. You need to go back with the man. Now, Korea is also having a similar issue, and they are going outside to other Asian countries to get women. America is having a similar issue, but in the melanated community, it is a surplus of women and not enough of the men. So in either way, there's an offset in the availability in the dating pool. And my point is that it's for very different reasons. but some of the issues that the men bring up are the same. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight. True Diamond says you can switch things up. I see no problem with it. Content in other spaces are switching up as well. So we need to stay informed and up to date. And I agree. I agree. We need to stay informed and we need to stay up to date. And we need, there are other things. YouTube is just one place. If we're having these intellectual discussions, it helps to bring the information so that we're not having circular reasoning. It's like in the case of polygyny. The reason why we were so equipped to have the conversation, and shout out to Ari Joseph yesterday for being an excellent sport in the conversation and not really taking offense to the line of questioning, is because we have studied polygyny for years. This is not like, oh, girl, tell me, and then what did he do? I mean, we had some of those moments because, it was an intriguing story, but to ask the pertinent questions, the reason why we were prepared to have that conversation, and shout out to Sister Mayana, is because we have been studying this for years, right? And because we understand that no matter what country you may find yourself in, as it relates to polygyny, there has to be an angle. There's going to be an angle that people are using to push the institution, which is socioeconomic, meaning you're in a region where it's impoverished and your parents can't afford to maintain you. And there's this rich man with a big, I shouldn't say that because people are like, you said rich man with a big belly, but there's somebody somewhere that they're going to sell you off to or push you off on for him to support. So that's socioeconomic. And then you may have some religious reasons, right? It's going to make you righteous. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to, in the Mormon community, it's going to give you spirit babies, right? You want to go into heaven and be gods. I didn't say it. That's the Mormon thought process, that in order to become a god in the next world, then you have to do this thing. So that when we educate ourselves in these areas, then it helps for better conversation. If you're not informed, you can find yourself being manipulated and taken advantage of based on the fact that you were simply uninformed and these changing trends in relationship models. I agree. And so some of these conversations, I don't have a dog in the fight, meaning I'm not in the dating space, that I'm not vying for any of things. I see that as a mother who has children coming from the next generation, nieces and nephews, people who are coming into the things that we have created. I think it's important to be honest. Right. And I think that pop culture is a perfect opportunity to examine something that everybody can see. It's all in front of us, like the Seek and Sister Wives show. It's perfect to discuss polygyny because you get to see it from all angles, from the personal, from the religious, from the socioeconomic angle. Right. And then you get to dissect it in a way that you can see elements that you would experience in monogamy. And you can also see elements as to whether or not what happened to you if you were in a polygynous relationship, or what you could possibly expect if things go in the way in which they keep going. So in Ari's situation, she shared with us that she wasn't cajoled in the way of religion, right? That wasn't the lure. She was looking at the socioeconomic benefits of polygyny. So this person wasn't going unwillingly. There are many people, like in the Mormon spaces or in certain Christian sects, that go unwillingly. She wasn't, and I thought that was a fascinating take because she wasn't an unwilling participant. It is just when she arrived and she experienced it, she realized that what you sold to me, what you told me it would be, actually wasn't what it is and what it was. And so my purpose also for the videos like the one I'm about to give you guys on Ashley Snowden, it's really just going back to some of the things that she said on podcasts or in time past and matching them up with what we're hearing now, so that we can understand, even to a certain degree, she had to convince herself of what we're seeing now on television. For those who are watching, how many people here have watched the show? How many people here have watched the show? Let me know how many people here have watched the show. Anybody? What we're seeing on television is a facade. That's what I asked. Is that a facade? Is she projecting to either convince herself or convince us? Whichever way, you're going to be doing harm to the narrative of polygyny. You're going to be doing harm to the image of melanated people in this space. So in the end, even though you were trying to sell an ideal, you end up doing more harm than good. The House of Strength, you watching the show? What did you glean from it? I mean, this is Found you yesterday. Great job. Thank you so much. Other than the audio, thank you. Other than the audio, I have been around YouTube for a while. If you go back to my videos, my area of concentration was greatly within, thank you, Sandy, it was examining slavery. It was examining certain things within culture. So I've been around YouTube, but I've been on hiatus. So coming back, I wanted to share some of the things that I was learning from, one and two shows that I was watching. So the show, okay, how many people think that the Merrifields, I remember their name, that there's some level of manipulation that's going on between Garrick and his wife, Danielle? Is it, as we're talking about, are they doing it for social economic reasons? Are they doing it for financial reasons? Are they doing it for religious reasons? Right? What are some of the reasons? Are you looking at the show like that? Like, do you even care? Or, you know what I mean? Do you even care about those things? Or is it just pure entertainment? Anybody? Is it pure entertainment? I mean, some parts are like, I can't believe it. Like, what's about to happen next week? What's about to happen next week? For me, it's looking at, okay, what tool is Garrick using? In this last episode where she's back at home, how many people realize Garrick is a slimy snake in the ground? Garrick is using, for me, he's using manipulation. And I could tell, well, just by the way he disparaged your big wife and she's little wife, the way he slights her when they're at the table. When they actually get back home, he's not even interested in his children, like, unless that's how they clipped it. Because we also have to realize it's reality TV. But he just walks right by his children. And I'm like, wow, you've been gone for 2 weeks and you don't stop to say hi or anything. When she tries to speak to him in the room, he starts to rise up on her. And I was like, okay, this is the real Garrick that he's hiding. So I think we should look out for that relationship, because the mother and the sister-in-law lets us know that she was depressed behind it, right? So these are some of the things where we know somebody's doing it against their will. They may have depression. They may have, they may draw back. You know what I mean? They may, all of these things that somebody's doing something that they may not necessarily want to do. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I just wanted to come on here and say thank you for my subscriber who shot me the headphones. And thank you guys for sitting with me through the interview yesterday and the sound quality, and all the new subscribers and those who have from day one. Shout out. Look for the new video that's going to come. We're going to talk about Ashley's jealousy, as well as the fact-checking video that I just promised. So with that said, if you have any questions or comments, put it below in the box, and we'll be back at another time. And I'm glad to hear that you guys can hear me well. Your interview was good. The SSS, Seek and Sister Wife show have some very bad examples. Good material, teach what not to do. It's a lot of blunders. I agree. It's a lot, but then that's what it is. I'll say this, my experience and exposure to polygyny is that for so many years, it has been idealized, right? And so when you have something in the ideal realm and you actually try to do it, that's when all the mistakes come out, when it's in a working practice. It's like thinking you know how to build a house, but when you actually go build a house, that's when all of the things come up. We're watching them put into practice their ideas. And it's showing out before the world, and the sad part about it is that these are people, these are souls, these are lives that are being affected by you practicing. And people will say, well, it happens with monogamy, but right now we're talking about polygyny. So that's going to be for another conversation. It happens all over, but right now they have our eyes on, it's like Colt, Sophie, and what's the next one? Oh, y'all gonna get me. What's her name? Colt, Sophie. Y'all know that names right now for me. What is the next girl's name? What's the first wife name? Tammy. Colt, Sophie, and Tammy. There we go. He doesn't really want another woman. And now they're pressuring him to, you have a baby, a toddler, and 2 women, and now they're pushing another woman on you. Because of religion, because God told you, Colt doesn't even say 2 words in a sentence. He doesn't even stitch 2 words together. If he said a compound word, it would be too much energy for him. And you want this person to be responsible for a whole nother person and what they bring. I think it could be, well, not be good, but then it can be so wrong Not for me, but I admire when it's done healthily. Thank you for that. Your thoughts, Queen T. So thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to go now that we know my sound works. Most I willing, we'll probably have Ari back at another time. Again, I didn't want to sensationalize her story. I wanted us to get important lessons from the story. How can someone intelligent, someone who's smart, how can someone fall for that? That's what people would ask, right? How can somebody walk themselves into something like this? We often say that when we're not in the situation. And what I learned from what she's saying that is that they worked on her mentally. They were pursuing her for 4 years, if you follow the storyline, right? And so once they found a way in to continue the conversation and paint the picture, she was at the space in her life where she wanted to engage. The religion, the religion realm makes it creepy. I mean, here's another part. In other cultures, it's not necessarily religion, it's culture. And so beyond religion, like the people in the community will force the man oftentimes to enter into a polygynous relationship. He may not even want to do it, but the social pressures will be like, you have to do it because you don't have a son, or you have to do it because she's old. So that also can be creepy, like someone making you do something against your own will. And you have to do it, or that you will be thrown out of the community, right? There's some people in the Mormon community who doesn't want it, but the men put so much pressure on him that, this is what men do. This is how you become a man. And that pressure makes them crack. So you have Mormons who practice polygyny. You have Muslims who practice polygyny. You have indigenous Africans who practice polygyny. It's true in Saudi Arabia. There you go. So you have to, when you're looking at polygyny specifically, for me, you have to look at where this construct exists, in what community, and what is the structure of this. What are the tenets? How does it operate? In Islam, you shouldn't have more than 4. In other places, in the Mormon, you can just free for all, but it really, really, really depends, because it's a real broad brush. And then when you get in the nuanced spaces, you can understand what you're dealing with. And I think that's why in Dimitri and Ashley's case, they always made a mention to say it's not affiliated with any religion. It's not so he was basically making his own rules and his own tenets, right? This is what I want to happen. This is what I'm expecting. One other thought that I came to is just a thought, and it's fresh off the press, so don't run with it. But this is also a thought. When I thought about Dimitri's background, that he's Afro-Cuban, because I like to know, like, in the mind, what is the principle? What is the blueprint for what we are seeing? There's always something behind it. And if his parents are coming from a communist space, right, there's an element to polygyny that's communist. Right? We have all of these things in common, right? And if they're coming for this space, and he's also his father, I think, if he's military trained. So you have this very military trained, communistic, all things in common. I'm the person who's over it, and all of you people, children and women alike, are sharing this common space. When I thought about it and looked at it through that lens, what Ari was explaining to us began to make a lot more sense, in the way in which he felt the need to be there, but in control, based on his experience in a bit distance and micromanaging everything. You didn't have, and everything that you have is for the collective. So in that way, it's communistic. So on one side, communism has this ideal thought process, but when you get into the inner workings, it may not be what it was promised to be. Let me know your thoughts on that. That just came to me as I was putting some stuff together. Sarai, I can appreciate your comprehensive, non-biased overview of the topic. Thank you, Sarai. I try my best. To kind of step back from it and, just put the pieces that I found on the table, like that particular one. And then whatever he experienced, that detachment he experienced. When are you doing to talk about Japanese women? Thank you. That's another thing that's happening in Japan is the negative population growth. We know that's what's happening. They have dying cities, literally dying cities where they put little dollies out in Japan. It's crazy. So I think I'm just going to talk about the Asian countries. And I have been seeing some news reports also coming out of certain metropolitan cities in Africa where something similar, like the men and the women are not marrying how they would traditionally. So if it's happening in Japan, it's happening in China, it's happening in Korea, it's happening in America, then it may not just be the culture, it may be the progression of civilization or technology, or the woman is realizing that if she can do for herself, like the I think it was the Korean documentary that says then she doesn't have to do all the stuff that you're requiring of her. If she can still get what she needs to. I know they're going extreme. I'm not saying I love my children, but some people are saying, well, we have to see what is the impetus behind them saying, I would rather go for my career than a husband and a family. That's something for us to talk about. That's something for us to talk about. But I'll take a look at Japan. Like I said, I have some information. I think it's coming out of Kenya, Ghana. There's some places where the same thing is happening. And are you going to say it's westernized everywhere? Or are we going to be honest and look at, okay, are these all the places where women have education? All the places where women have access to resources, and then they have access to hire the bar? And is that what men are really upset about? That they have options, right? As opposed to you just eat oatmeal because all I have is oatmeal. If you say, I don't feel like oatmeal today, you getting uppity on me. You getting uppity? They doing the Ike look. You getting uppity? I'm just saying, it's our time. This is our job. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We cannot continue to make the same mistakes. We can't. So once again, thank everybody for tuning on. Shout out to everybody who has just joined us. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the box below. I'm going to watch out for some uploads, and we'll talk again soon. All right. 1.